Hi, this is Leslie with Invest Nicaragua. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you and your family are safe. And as we come to the end of 2020, I just wanted to spend a few minutes going over what's been happening in San Juan del Sur and Tola, and also give you some advice for what to expect. We're going to briefly discuss travel, sales, rentals, inventory, and the million-dollar question that all my clients have been asking me, is now a good time to buy? So we'll go through these topics briefly. If you have further questions, feel free to reach out to me at any time. Always happy to discuss further. In terms of travel, right now there's no commercial travel to or from Nicaragua. That being said, chartered flights have become an option for people who are looking to enter or leave the country. If you want to get into Nicaragua right now, the first few days of September, your only options are a chartered flight. A chartered flight can mean a private plane chartered by an individual or a group of people with a split cost, or a tourism or travel agency that's using a larger plane, such like a plane from an Avianca fleet that's bringing down hundreds of people at a time. There are two different options with two different price points. If you're interested, please reach out to me and I'll put you in contact with the right people who can help you organize these flights. So yes, you can enter the country now, however, there are no commercial flights. With that being said, a lot of clients have been telling me that they see that Spirit and other airlines are showing dates for late September, mid-September, early October. A lot of those flights that have been mentioned in the past have ended up getting canceled. So if you're gonna book a commercial flight, although we haven't seen those commercial flights start to come in the country, just be prepared for that flight to be canceled, and they don't give you your cash back, you're just gonna get credit. So be cautious. The safest bet is by far the chartered flight. In mid-March, early April, when it became very clear that COVID was here to stay, we saw an extreme uptick in the amount of people that were inquiring about property in Nicaragua. And not only property, just Nicaragua in general, the lifestyle, what it's like to live here, what is the cost of living, rental, etc. This volume was something that I'd never seen before, and I was curious to see if the inquiries were actually going to turn into sales. And I'm happy to say that it has. We've had a lot of clients make purchases via two methods. One, flying down on those chartered flights and looking at the properties firsthand. We've also had a lot of clients who decided to make purchases via virtual tours. This is when we walk through the house, show them every element of the house, provide them with all the information to the point where they feel comfortable proceeding with the sale. So for those of you who are thinking about purchasing now, but maybe aren't able to come down or don't want to come down, you can make a purchase while being overseas. There's a very simple element called a limited power of attorney, which would allow a lawyer or someone that you behest to sign on your behalf, although you're not in country at the closing. So if you want to purchase a property now, it is possible. Reach out to me and I can explain how the process works. Who is buying? Well, it's all across the board. We have retirees, we have young couples, we have young to mid families, and we also have investors. People have different purposes for their purchase, but there's something for everyone. The investor may be looking to get a property that's below replacement cost value. The family may be looking to upgrade and get a much larger house with more open space, closer to the beach and out of the apartment that they were in New York or LA. And the retiree, again, they can get their Social Security benefits here, and they just can't live on what they can live on here comfortably in Florida or in a lot of places in the States. So we're seeing a wide variety of buyers coming down for different reasons, and thankfully, there's something to offer for everyone. Now, because we've had a high amount of sales, there's something to look for on the other side. Since 2019, riding out of 2018, we saw a high volume of sales with an upward trajectory throughout 2019, which rode into 2020, only being slowed down by COVID in mid-March, early April 2020. Now, so we've seen a lot of sales, we've seen a high trajectory, we've seen a lot of the inventory be bought. However, we haven't seen the same trajectory with development and building. What this means is that a lot of homes are selling, but a lot of homes aren't being built. So the amount of homes, especially in the price point of 350, 300 and below, that were once on the market have been purchased, but they haven't been replaced by new builds. A lot of the developers who were building 5, 10, 15, 20 homes at a time pre-2018 aren't doing that anymore. So we're seeing a lack of new inventory being created. And if you're in the market to buy a home, that's definitely something to keep in mind. If we continue at this sales pace and the external environments, the politics, the economics, the global situation are driving more people out of North America, more people out of Europe, that means that more homes are going to be purchased here. But again, we're not seeing the pace of new construction maintain the pace of sales. So as time goes on, I'm predicting that we're going to reach a point where there's going to be a very low amount of inventory, specifically in that 350, 300 and below mark, which is more or less the sweet spot in San Juan del Sur and Tola. When you go above the 500,000 price point, there are more options just because those homes aren't purchased as frequently as the lower price points. Outside of sales, we've also had a good amount of people come down to rent. People who may want to buy in the future, but want to test out the waters, want to see what life is like for 6 months. So we've had a good amount of families and individuals come down and rent homes here just to test the water, to see how they feel, and make the decision if San Juan del Sur or Tola is a place where they want to lay down their hat for a larger amount of time. In terms of rentals, clearly with no commercial flights, just like a lot of places around the world, the rental market has gone down. We have seen a surge of local renters coming from Managua, coming from the northern parts of the country to San Juan and Tola and renting out homes to spend time with their families and friends. And we've also seen Managuans and people from the northern part of the country coming to rent in San Juan del Sur and Tola for long term. So yes, I have my house in Managua, but I'd love to stay close by the beach if I have to be in my house for the next 2 to 3 months. So there is a good amount of activity in the local rental market that will never replace the international rental market when tourism and airlines open up again. But that being said, for buyers, you're not really trying to get a great rental ROI property now because there are external factors which are limiting your potential rental ROI. If you're a buyer in this market, the goal is to get an underpriced asset that's below replacement cost value, let the appreciation take place, and then when commercial travel opens back up again, when COVID has some type of vaccine or a cure or some better type of control mechanism, then let that rental ROI come into play. But right now, what you're looking for is an underpriced asset. And as I said, there are a lot of sales occurring, so don't wait too long. When COVID started, the natural reaction is that sales are going to tank, sales are going to be stagnant, and that really hasn't been the case. There's been a lot of movement, prices from $30,000 for a lot up to $1 million plus for homes in both San Juan del Sur and Tola. There's been a lot of activity, and what we're seeing is people are trying to take advantage of these underpriced assets that cannot be reproduced for their replacement cost value. So the buyer who's in the position to strike on a property that meets all their characteristics, which is at the right price point, is ready to move, which is great. That's great for the buyers who've been able to take advantage of the lower priced inventory. And keep in mind, we're in a global pandemic still. So as a buyer, it's very rare you're in a situation where there's a lot of bad news, where there's a lot of uncertainty, which typically makes sellers a little more flexible in their pricing, if not very more flexible. So use this pandemic and use the external environment to your advantage as a buyer. This is a great time to buy. If you know you want to be in the market long term, if you know what you're looking for and it's available at a price that's appropriate for you, go for it. Again, the external environment has created a very attractive buyer's market, and you don't want to lose out on a really great opportunity just because you think you may be able to get it a little cheaper 6 months down the road. Acquire your asset now and let your value grow. I hope that you found this information useful. I hope that it's pertinent to your property journey, looking for property in the towns of San Juan del Sur and Tola. If you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm more than happy to help and share with the information that I have. I've been investing in Nicaragua since 2011. We have commercial property, residential property. We've done a bunch of everything. So use my knowledge. Don't make the same mistakes we did, and feel free to reach out at any time. If you thought this was useful, please hit the like button. If you want to hear more content like this, please hit the subscribe button. And again, be safe. I look forward to seeing everyone soon.